Hey, it's me
Hey.
and you. And
you,
it's us
me.
doing this thing where we talk
Hey, it's you right over here.
across.
You're right over here.
hey, there you are. Oh, 1 second. High five through the internet. Internet high five.
Yeah,
Boom.
let's go. Oh,
Done.
ow.
Well, I've been working out. I have not been working out.
I've been working out. I've been working out to my detriment. Like I keep freaking injuring
you
myself.
overdo it, and then you're like texting me. You're like, I think I'm dying. You're not dying. Just take it easy.
No, this time
you had a realization though. What was your realization?
I don't remember.
You're getting old.
Oh yeah. I'm getting old. I can't even remember.
What's that big epiphany you had yesterday? I don't know.
I
don't remember.
I'll probably have it again in a couple of days. No, I'm getting old, man. I'm getting. People listening to this or watching this that are older than us, they're like, "You don't even know."
You don't know the half of it.
But I'll never forget when I turned 35. My dad was like, 35. I was like, what the heck does that mean? He goes, it's where it all goes downhill. I was like, wow.
You should have had no description of why, no reason. You should have just backed out of the room. Dad, tell me why.
tell me. No, man. Like when he said that, I was like, okay. What the heck? Like, why would you do that? And now I understand what he means because my back hurts all the time. I started a new workout routine. I thought my muscles could handle it. Turns out they could not. I think I've done something to my rotator cuff on this arm because it really does hurt, and it hurts back here on the back. I'm going for a massage next week, so I'm hoping that
a massage
that will kind of help. Stretches, doing my wife Perry laughs at me because I have this heat thing that's filled with rice.
Oh yeah,
put it in the microwave.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I use it multiple times a day. That's and then I have a muscle hook. Do you know what a muscle hook is?
Is it one of the hook things with the knob on it?
I keep this in my office.
Oh yeah. That's really good for trigger point therapy.
So I use it here on my back. And it's, we have a standing desk, but if you sit all day, people know what we're talking about. I have this guy. You roll it on your muscles. That helps.
I love how you not planned. You have all of these right here by my desk and exercise things and sore muscle things. They're all within arm's reach.
Oh, here's that rice thing I was telling you about, and it's owls. Look at that.
Oh, that's cute. We there's a brand called Bed Buddy.
Yeah.
That's like that, and we had one growing up, and then after we got married, my wife and I got my wife one that's had lavender in it or something like that. But I feel like at least 2 or 3 times a week, either my wife or I will look at each other and go, "Where's the Bed Buddy? Do you have it, or do I have it? Is it in the bedroom? Is it on the couch? Where is it?"
We also have a heating pad.
Yeah. I mean, these are just the things that we have to deal with to keep our bodies tick-tocking.
To keep it going.
Yeah.
I get it, but it doesn't help when you have little kids, and people who, because me and my wife joke because it's it's progressive workouts because the kid only gets bigger, so you're naturally going to get stronger because you're going to have to lift them up. Yes, right now that hurt. Ow. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
just stay still. Stay prone. Stay prone for the podcast.
That's part of the problem, Jason. You're telling me to do something that's perpetuating the problem. Sitting still. I have to be active, man.
Yeah, but you just pointed and hurt yourself.
That's part of getting old, remember?
So stay still and be part of the problem, or point and hurt yourself and just deal with it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So
I think you need a happy medium.
It's a lose-lose situation over here right now.
Okay, so aside from getting old, we're also going to be talking about criticism. which you know, there's the concept of constructive criticism, and then just when you talk about criticism as a whole, I don't know anybody. I mean, I guess there's people out there, but I don't know anybody who takes criticism like really well. Maybe like on the outside, they might be like, "Oh man, they have such grace. Like they just got told about how terrible they were, but they took it all in stride." But on the inside, their stomach is just bubbling up because they're just so upset, and
they get the bubble guts.
Nah, that's a different type of bubble in your gut.
Okay.
This is like a boiling one. But no, like
like a stewing is what you're thinking, like
yeah, exactly. Angry. Like you're really upset. But maybe that's how you process criticism. But the whole thing today is we're talking about criticism, how you take it, like personally, professionally, and what do you do if they're right? What do you do if they're wrong? Do you ignore it? Do you make changes in yourself? Like, what do you do?
Do you get discouraged? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just right off the bat, I'll tell you how I feel, how I deal with criticism, and then you can chime in. But for me,
thank you.
I don't deal with criticism well.
No, you don't. No, you do not.
My stomach is bubbling right now.
You 100% do not.
I do not take it well. I try really hard, but I don't, and it's going to make me sound like a jerk, but like it's really, really hard when you think that you're right to see that you're wrong.
You're like an Oscar. You're like Oscar Martinez.
I was like the Grouch.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Oh, come on. My stomach's really bubbling right now. I'm starting to get the bubble guts.
No, and you get the criticism, you become Oscar the Grouch. Before that, you're Oscar Martinez.
Yeah, I don't know. I read or listen to like books on self-improvement, and that helps you kind of like see where you have like flaws and stuff like that. But gosh, at the same time, it is devastatingly hard to see how you could be wrong when you feel like you're right. Mm-hmm. It's really hard. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's literally like a struggle to go, oh wow, they didn't like that, or oh, I'm wrong about that. So let's talk about criticism specifically instead of just being right or wrong. So for like you, how do you deal with criticism?
Let me ask you, how do you feel like I take it?
I feel like it's a 50-50 with you sometimes. Or maybe it's always just don't deal well with criticism, and sometimes you just like hide it and process. But like I feel like some days, because I feel like you when I'm like, hey, I'll give you feedback on something, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah, okay, I'll fix it. Or I'll say something and you'd be like, well, no, I don't think it. I think we need to do it this way, but I think part of that's probably you just going like, that your idea is better. And so you just defend your idea. But I think that you handle criticism a lot better than I do.
I handle it one of two ways. Either I take it personal, mm-hmm. or I go, like when we were talking about working out just a few minutes ago and getting hurt, I will go to the other extreme and try to go gung-ho into whatever their criticism is so that I can be better, or I don't know. I think of this is maybe not directly criticism, but I remember I was having some issues with my back. I'm going back to that. And I went and saw this lady, I forget what they're called, physiologist or something like that. It's basically like a person who knows like physical therapy but doesn't do the physical therapy. I can't remember the name of that.
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And I was showing her something on my back, and I was like, I have this place on my back. She goes, and I said, is that like, what is that? And she goes, it's you have back fat. I was like, yeah. I was like,
wow.
Cool. So I'm gonna put my shirt back on.
Are you a medical professional? Because you just really hurt my feelings.
And now I work out my back every day. No, but that I took it really like, gosh, that she's right.
Yeah,
But it's insulting.
she's wrong in her rightness.
So, but then like I go to like, I take that I don't know if that's necessarily criticism, but I took that and decided I'm going to work on that really hard, and then end up hurting myself. So I guess the point I'm getting at is the pendulum never hits in the sweet spot in the middle. It's either way over here or way over here. So
yeah.
But I think
go ahead.
When it comes to some things, when it comes to being a graphic designer for so long, and dealing with clients, you sort of have to have a tough skin and not get married to a certain idea. As soon as that, you're going to end up pushing that and pushing that and pushing that. But then the client doesn't get what they want. They get what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you just have to grow thick skin of saying, okay, fine. This is not my number one. Because I've done logos before where they chose, to me, the worst one they could have chosen out of the one I put together.
Why do they always choose your least favorite?
I don't know.
That's annoying.
I know, stupid clients. No, you have to let go of that, and I think that's one thing that I've learned being there. Now, I agree with you. I think I deal with it a little bit better than you, where I hear it. And I don't know if it's just because I've listened to enough self-improvement books and enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I have, and I've read.
I know you do. I mean, you send me articles about it, and I'm like, wait a second, is he talking to me?
I am talking to you. It's subliminal. But
that's fair. That's fair. No, but still, like, I think also it helps with delivery, and I'm trying to get better at this as well. But I am not. I'm not the most tactful person with my words either. Sometimes I'll be very blunt and direct, and I realize that can hurt feelings. And while the criticism might be true, it can be given in like a sandwich. You know what I'm talking about?
See, I don't feel like you are that way. I know you say that, but I don't know.
God bless you, Zachary Tatum.
I don't know if that's just because we've been friends for so long.
Yeah.
And
but I am that way. I feel like I am more direct, like to a fault. So like, but like the sandwich thing, right? Like on how to give, and how to give criticism. It's best to give it in a sandwich where you have like something good, you give the negative, and then you give something good, so that way the person's left.
I call it bookends.
Yeah. Well, there you go. As long as there's two things on the end and one thing in the middle. And then things on the outside are good. You're good. I don't know why you're laughing, but that must have been something silly that I said. Anyway, but I think part of criticism, as far as to improve, which that's what we're talking about, is dealing with it, right? Is understanding that you can. There's probably better ways for you to give it, right?
Sure.
So there's better ways for you to give criticism. And maybe not be quite so direct and stinging. I mean, if that's your nature. Other people are not that way. Other people dance around it and they don't even want to say it. So, meet in the middle and find a happy medium to be able to give it and to give it like, kindly. So,
but I think if you avoid criticism, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with your business. That's one of the things we always ask, or we tell our clients is we'll say, why don't you show it to several people before you make your final adjustments to a website or a logo or whatever. Just some people you trust, toss it out to them.
Yeah.
And I think that as an entrepreneur, we should be sharing our ideas with our business, with other people. people we trust. Obviously, you don't want to share it with, anybody and everybody. Somebody you're riding the subway with, like, don't ask them. But like legitimately people, and I think we'll probably talk about this, and this is something that I think me and you have to strengthen ourselves in, is finding mentors. Because
Mm-hmm.
mentors will help you get to where you want to go, and they're going to give you criticism, and they're going to give
Yeah.
you advice and pointers, and it's up to you whether you take
Yeah.
it or not. A good mentor is not going to be upset if you take their advice or not.
Yeah.
But
At least a peer group, because I feel like there's a certain amount of stress and anxiety when it comes to finding a mentor. It's like, because we looked for a business mentor for a while and we thought we found one. And we are like, no, this didn't really work out. But it's like, okay, this is somebody that I'm going to have to respect and listen to and really have to be able to have conversations with. So if it's not a mentor, maybe it's a peer group. And I'll tell you why I say that is because for me as a freelance illustrator, which is something I still do, even though we have this business, because I love to draw, is I found a peer group, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And it was literally the turning point for me and in my freelance career as an illustrator and as an apparel designer. Because once I found this community and started to engage with them, I not only learned new methods and tactics to do things, but I also had a sounding board for ideas that I was working on. And then I could
Mhm.
also show projects in the middle of them, or works in progress, and say, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" Or "I'd love to get your feedback." And sometimes you take it, sometimes you don't. But it's nice to know that like you're not just operating with what's the phrase? You're operating within a vacuum, you
Sure.
know, because it's only you and you're not hearing anything else, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's really good. So, like you said, find a mentor, or maybe it's a peer group of similar minded people or similar professionals that you can just
Well,
bounce ideas off of.
that's kind of what we want to do with Hustle Machine, is create
Exactly.
exactly that. Um, is create a community of other entrepreneurs who are working together. Because it here's the thing: is like you can find mentors that are entrepreneurs. They could be
Mhm.
just business leaders in their fields that you respect.
Yeah.
Um, but the bottom line is, as an entrepreneur, the only people who know what you're going through is other entrepreneurs. At the
Yeah,
end of the
for
day,
sure.
those are the only ones that truly understand what you're fighting with, what you're dealing with,
Mhm.
the ups, the highs, the lows, the feast and famine. Like all of that stuff is something that they can relate to because they've more than likely been through it, they've experienced it. Um, and that's exactly what we want to create here, is to be able to get on that group of people and ask the
Right.
questions and have reviews of work you're getting done, and just say, hey, how can I make this better? What could I do better?
Right.
um
So with that said, you've experienced this, I'm sure. Like you'll go through periods where like you feel like you're on fire. You're sending off mock-ups and clients like love it, let's do it. And they have
mhm.
like little or no changes. And then you'll send it off again and they'll be like, that's awesome, let's keep rolling this train. And then the same client, you'll send something off, they're like, that's not working for me. I don't like it. And they don't tell you why. They don't give you any feedback. They just tell you no. Don't like it. Do it again. Or
Mhm.
nah, don't really like it. Whatever. Or yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. I hate that. So that's the worst. Not feeling it. Well, that's really descriptive. Thank you so much. Goodbye. But and then you could be in it could turn into a slump because all you're hearing is, no, I don't really like that design. And you're like, oh gosh, I thought I had this dialed in. So, like, what do you do to keep from feeling that discouragement? Like, how do you get in that right mindset?
A couple things that I would say. um don't sit in it, right? Don't sit. Yeah, you sat in it, didn't you?
Oh,
You're the people who are listening to this, he just checked his seat and then sniffed his hands. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Hey, you said don't sit in it.
Well, don't literally don't sit in it. Don't wallow.
Don't wallow. Yeah.
Yeah, don't just kind of just sit in it. I would suggest if you get like that off a call like that, first off, your job is to figure out what they want.
Yeah.
So you got to come up with a way to get that, whether it's the right questioning, whether it's to go back to what your notes are and say, well, maybe I misread something here. So let me see if I can look at this again and decipher a code. But I say step away from your computer, get outside, go for a walk, clear your head, because there's something about getting outside, even if it's raining, doesn't matter. Getting outside, breathing fresh air, getting away from your computer, away from your phone, away from all that stuff, away from other people for just a little while, and like a mental reset. So when you sit back down the computer, you're in a fresh space.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do that, then I would suggest stepping away, just at least stepping away from it. Don't get off that call and just immediately start working on that project. Right. Take your notes down, come back to it tomorrow, because you can go do something that you enjoy, whether it's something with another project that you're working on with somebody else, and you're like, I'm really into this. Let me just pivot to that for the rest of the day, and I'll come back in the morning when I can think clearly. Maybe they were right or whatever. That's what I would suggest you do.
So I would agree with all that. I would say maybe as a freelancer entrepreneur, maybe you tweak your process a little bit so that while you're whatever it is that you're doing and presenting to a client that keeps coming back with no, that makes you have that feeling like you're not good enough. Maybe it's you tweak your process so that instead of giving the client something that they can give you a yes or a no to, which feels very like final, right? Especially if you get the no, like, no, I don't like it. Maybe you find ways within that to give pathways or options. So like, I'm just thinking in my mind more of like people who do work for like design and things like that. Like maybe you give slight alternatives that, so it's almost like you don't present a finished product, you present 3 pathways that you can take. And so maybe it's instead of getting too far into a project and then feeling that criticism that's like crippling, maybe you try and cut that off at the pass by breaking it into smaller segments. Because I know as like a designer and as a business owner, when you work on a project, before you even hand it off to the customer, because it can be days, weeks, a month or so before you're showing the customer something, that's a lot of time to get really invested into something that like, you're like, this is my brain baby. You know, it's like, I crafted it, I molded it, I did it, and it's beautiful. Look
at it. It's a weird way to describe your brain baby.
My brain baby. Yeah. And then like you hand it to them and they're like, look at my brain baby. And they're like, that brain baby sucks. Like, that's my baby, you know? So, I mean, maybe it's just like, hey, I've got, I know that we're not due for a check-in on this project, but what do you think about these 3 directions? And they're like, oh, I don't like that one, but what about these 2? And so maybe it's just changing up your process, because maybe you're sitting with the project for too long in your own vacuum before you're presenting and showing it to anyone else. So maybe that's one way to try and combat that, is to not be that interested for that long. You know what I'm saying? Like it's don't go with it for too long before you show it off.
Oh, I have another thing that it could be, and this might be controversial. Maybe that's not your client.
I'm ready for it.
Maybe it's not your client. Maybe if you're hitting home runs and your process is working for all these other people, all of a sudden you hit this one person and it's just constant no. Then maybe it's like, could you afford to cut the loss?
Yeah.
Could you
I was about to say,
because at one point it's
like, how much do I make with this? How frustrated am I?
How much time have I already spent on this?
Yeah.
I'm already losing money. Might as well just cut ties.
Yeah.
and just say, listen, I'll give you what I have, and you can you can give it to whoever you
Yeah.
want, and they can pick up where I left off. But it seems like we're not a good fit. This is not going
Yeah.
to work out. It's no hard feelings. It's
Yeah.
just business is business, and people understand that. Like, if
Yeah.
you just flat out say, listen, I don't see this working. I feel like I'm not getting exactly in your head, and maybe I'm not the right designer for you, or I'm not the right developer
Yeah.
for you, or whatever business you're in. I don't know how that
Mhm.
works. I mean, we're talking specifically our industry, but
Yeah.
I think you can
Now,
apply it to anybody.
I think that's very valid. Now, Zach, the way you presented that, very eloquent, very clear, also made it seem like it was super easy and didn't really come with any kind of emotional struggle. It absolutely does. It is a very difficult thing to do, to what they essentially call it, like firing a client. Um, it's really hard. In fact, Zach and I have gone through it where we've had to do that. And then we've also done it where we're like, you know what? We're not going to do that. We'll hang on to it, and things get better, because it's also a period in your life as well, and then things change. But um, it's difficult. It's difficult to deal with criticism to begin with, and then dealing with the aftermath and discouragement that can follow. It's really difficult. But one of the things that we talk about a lot on the show is getting into the right mindset, and you said that business is just business. It made me think of the Office line with Michael Scott, like business was something to the effect of like business is the most personal thing ever in the world, or whatever it is he says. But business can feel very personal, especially for us and for our listeners, because we're entrepreneurs, because our business to an extent is our life.
Mhm.
It's the thing that we've ventured off away from regular 9 to 5 jobs working for other people to work for ourselves, because we're so invested in it. So, it is hard to deal with the discouragement. But I'll just circle back to something that we said really early on. And I liked what you said about having a mentor. And I think having a peer group is equally beneficial when you're dealing with criticism, because when you have because you can kind of treat a mentor or a peer group like they're almost like a neutral party, right? Like you might
Mhm.
be friends with them or whatever, but it's almost like you're allowing them to be the neutral party in your life, to actually weigh in and be like, you know what, you really didn't handle that situation well, or
Mhm.
kudos to you, you handled it well, you took the criticism well, you're dealing with it, and you're moving on. Congratulations, thank you for applying the methods that we've been discussing. So I think it's really good for you to have that third party, and I think
Mhm.
it's very beneficial. And again, that's what we're trying to build here with our hustle machine community, is building a group of like-minded individuals who are
Mhm.
trying to grow in the best way they see fit. So,
Yeah, 100%.
yep.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I don't think we need to hit on any further. I think that, yeah, the to sum it all up, just you learn to take criticism, understand where you are first.
Mhm.
I think it's good to ask somebody, how do you feel like I handle criticism?
Yeah,
And
I liked that.
if
That was a good. Like, I feel like that was a good conversation. We never talked about that before, so I'm
mm,
glad we did that exercise.
yeah, and I
My
think
stomach's still bubbling, but whatever.
well, that's the burrito you had earlier.
I did have Tex-Mex for lunch.
There you go. If you're a business owner and you don't have somebody that you could
Mhm.
bounce ideas off, I encourage you to find somebody. If not, we're here. We would
Yeah.
love to have conversations. This is what we love to do. This is what we like. I'm a dreamer. I love business ideas, talking them out,
Mhm.
figuring like problem solving. That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
So if you don't have anybody, we encourage you to find somebody. Um, and yeah, it's up to you whether you take somebody's advice or not. But I think that you become a better person
Mhm.
if you learn how to accept
Yeah.
their criticism
At least
for what
listen
it's
to it,
worth.
you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's it gonna hurt? Now, if you didn't ask for it, then it's like a different thing. But we'll have another topic about
Listen, I
that.
got about 10 things that I got problems with.
Where do I begin?
Yeah, turn around and walk out the door.
So yeah, that's it. Until next
Okay, that's
time.
it. Goodbye. Packing up
Until
my
next
office.
time, make sure you we had the scrolling, we call it the scrolly. The scrolly thing was going with all of our contact information. Make sure you like, subscribe, so you don't miss anything.
Tag your
and
friends.
Yeah, tag your
Listen.
mom.
Tag your mom.
Tag.
What?
Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Okay. On that note, goodbye.